Good morning and welcome to Supplement Sunday. Today we are talking all about vitamin C. We'll go in detail about all about it. But please note that all content in this video is intended for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. For individualized advice, please consult your family physician or healthcare provider. What will you learn today? What is vitamin C? The history of vitamin C and interesting facts about it. Signs of vitamin C deficiency, and it's not just scurvy. What is vitamin C good for and how does it work? What does our body use it for? How do we get it through our food? A little bit about vitamin C supplementation. How is vitamin C used for the prevention of disease? And how is it used for the treatment of disease? Now, let's get started. What is vitamin C? Other names, there's a lot of them. Well known is ascorbic acid, or well known is sodium ascorbate, ascorbyl palmitate, and a few others, but it's vitamin C that is best known. The chemical formula, for those that are interested, and you can see it is an acid, it's 2 carbon, oxygen, and OH, which means an acid. Now, what about the history? The vitamin C deficiency, the classic scurvy, was already reported by the ancient Chinese, Babylonians, Egyptians, Greek, Romans, and later by the European sailors, and in population in northern regions during the winter when fresh fruit and vegetables were not available. But nobody really knew what it was, why it came about, and what to do about it. But Chinese sailors knew long before the 15th century how to prevent scurvy with sprouted soybeans. But all sailors that went away for long voyages, even when it was still believed that the earth was flat, knew they needed fresh fruit and vegetables to prevent diseases like scurvy. It's interesting to note that almost all species can produce their own vitamin C, but not us and certain other animals. A Hungarian man called Albert St. Georgi discovered the vitamin C molecule in the 1930s. So since then we know what it is that prevents scurvy. What is scurvy? The symptoms of scurvy start with easy bruising, bleeding, and swelling of the gums. And how does that come about? Vitamin C causes a deficiency. Vitamin C deficiency causes a weakening of the blood vessels, connective tissues, and bone, and a reduction in the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. So when the gums bleed and swell, you can lose your teeth, you can lose hair, joint starting swelling and paining, but a full-blown scurvy is nowadays very rare, and you'll find it only in wartime or on a very restrictive diet. But there's early symptoms of vitamin C deficiency that are often not recognized, like fatigue, feeling blah, general malaise, and frequent colds. Now, does a modern vitamin C deficiency in our land of abundance really exist? It absolutely does, not just in areas of extreme famine and wartime, but also when there is a very one-sided nutrition. You know, those picky eaters, especially picky kids, people with multiple food allergies that try to avoid as many as they can, people that are eating processed food only and know a little fresh fruit and vegetables, and there are those. And often in the senior population, studies have shown that seniors often have vitamin D intake way below the recommended, even the minimal recommended vitamin D intake. That can be due to a one-sided diet, but also to reduced absorption and cellular uptakes, which means higher requirement when we age. Now, what is vitamin C good for? How does it work? Vitamin C is an essential vitamin. It's required for collagen synthesis, and collagen is a structural component of blood vessels, tendons, ligaments, joints, bone, and the skin. It is actually the component that gives our skin elasticity, firmness, and softness to the touch. And as a structural component of blood vessels and all other, it's a component of all of our body tissues. So there's no tissue, single tissue, where we don't need vitamin C for. It is also required, and many people don't know that, for the synthesis of the neurotransmitter norepinephrine, which influences brain function and mood. It's also essential for the synthesis of carnitine, for making carnitine, which is essential for the transport of fat into mitochondria. And mitochondria are the power plants within our cells. That's how we generate our energy. So without vitamin C, we are tired, down in the dumps, can't focus, get brain fog. It's also important to make out of cholesterol bile acids, and as such it can regulate cholesterol levels in the blood, and it can help the formation of gallstones. Well known is that it's a highly effective antioxidant, which protects and regenerates proteins, lipids, fats, carbs, nucleic acids, and other vitamins and cofactors. We know, for example, that we use a vitamin C solution. For example, we have a cup of water, add a half a teaspoon of vitamin C powder, and you add a cut up apple or pear and rinse it in that. It stays for hours nice and bright and doesn't turn brown. And vitamin C protects against free radical damage, and we now know that many chronic diseases are contributed by an overabundance of free radicals. Free radicals are reactive oxygen species. They are generated during normal metabolism in a certain amount, and our body is able to handle them when we are healthy. But when we are exposed to many toxins, pollutants, medications, and other influences and have not enough vitamins, cofactors, minerals, and trace minerals, we have too many oxygen species, too many free radicals, and we get sick chronically. Vitamin C also inhibits the formation of cancer-causing substances in the stomach. Now that is important for us, especially with the summer, when we want to barbecue. Everybody knows that when you burn your meat on the barbecue, it forms cancerogenic substances. Now, what many don't know, if you marinate your meat with, for example, lemon juice or just a vitamin C solution, the formation of those cancer-causing substances is reduced because the vitamin C prevents it. And also, when you eat a barbecued meal and meat that's heavily cooked, especially if it was treated with nitrite, eat with it either fruit or vegetables that are high in vitamin C, like a fresh salad with peppers, tomatoes, and lemon juice. Now, how do we get our vitamin C? Most everyone knows we get it through fresh fruits and vegetables. But do you really know which ones to choose? Yes, it's important to eat a wide variety, but our standard idea are citrus fruits. Is that all? It isn't. Watch that. Orange juice, freshly pressed. I would not consume the not freshly pressed orange juice. And I don't like the American and Canadian use of servings because really nobody keeps to the servings. We eat more servings of processed food and fruit and less servings of vegetables than usually recommended. So this one has a vitamin C content per serving. And you can see that 6 ounces of, let me switch my camera off for a moment. Upsala, how can I do that? Can I? Okay, yeah, there. The orange juice has about 60-70 milligrams of vitamin C in 6 ounces. Grapefruit juice, about the same. A kiwi fruit, a whole one, and it's only really 2.5 ounces, has 91 milligrams of vitamin C. Medium orange, better than the orange juice because it has all the pulp and the white stuff that has the important bioflavonoids. Half a grapefruit, really not that much in it. Strawberries, who knew that strawberries have so much vitamin C? If you can choose spray-free though. Tomato, not much in it, but peppers. Red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, even green peppers are high in vitamin C. And now look at that, half a cup raw chopped. That is really not much to eat. Who can eat that? Go for it. Broccoli, half a cup cooked. That's not much broccoli. And there's 51 milligrams of vitamin C. Way not enough what you need, but hey, to start. Even potatoes have vitamin C after they're baked. And there's spinach. It's not as much as we would think, but spinach has other benefits. I just wanted to explain the principle that 1 gram, and we are often talking about milligrams and grams, so 1,000 milligrams equals 1 gram. So if you have 2 500 milligram tablets, is the same as taking 1 gram. Just to clarify. Now, the vitamin C content, and I like this table here because it said how much you must eat to get 100 milligrams, which they call a daily requirement. I don't agree with that. You have to eat 164 grams of lemons, which is 2.5 lemons, 200 grams of orange, which is a large orange, but you have to eat 1.5 pounds of apples. Now that is amazing, but apples have other benefits. And look at that, only 56 grams, not quite 2 ounces of black currants. They are very good for you. And even less, 34 grams, which is an ounce of peppers. Now, that is amazing, I think. I found that interesting. I found that in a German website, which shows the loss of nutrition over the years. And you see it is a comparison between 1985 and 1996 and 2002. And it not only shows vitamin C, and just here in spinach, which went down by 65%, apples by 60%, and strawberries by 87%. Not just that, but also all the other minerals and vitamins that have been lost over the years. Now what's the reason? Nutrient depleted soil through conventional agriculture and plants genetically modified that grow too rapidly, and a long time of being in transport and on shelves, fridges and in pantries. I found it quite interesting, another German slide, but I'll translate it here. What are good sources of vitamin C, and how much do you lose when you cook? Different methods. Now, this one here is called the acerola cherry, and Germans always measure everything by 100 grams. So how much is 100 gram of a substance? I think that's a nice way of comparing it, equal weight, and then you can see what has the most vitamin C per weight. Now we have acerola cherries, rose hips, sea buckthorn, there's a black guave, there's a black currant, peppers, broccoli, now everybody's favorite, Brussels sprouts, kale, rowan berries, those don't get eaten much, and other sources that we eat more of, strawberries, lemons, oranges, red cabbage. Red cabbage has more than green cabbage. Spinach, kiwi, blueberries, pineapple, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut also has vitamin C, that we have to eat quite a lot. Now, how do we lose vitamin C through the process of cooking, even if we do it home? If you cook it in water, you lose maybe a quarter, which is really not that bad. And the same if you steam it. But it's better to steam vegetables than to cook it in water and boil it, because many minerals leach in the water, not just the vitamin C gets destroyed by heat. If you can anything or put it in mason jars and you have to boil it before and heat it before you put it in a can, it loses half of the vitamin C right then and there. So all canned vegetables, all canned fruit have at least have at the most half of the vitamin C of the fresh fruit and vegetables. The same if you freeze dry it or dry it in the air. The best way really is to freeze it fresh, if you can't get it fresh, really fresh, because freezing conserves vitamin C longer than other methods. Now I'm still here, let's see. Now this is very interesting. A German slide again. I just found it there because I really love it. It not only shows vitamin C content again in 100 grams of edible parts of vegetables that we currently eat, like endive, chicory, green lettuce, green beans, asparagus, peas, and more, but also in wild vegetables or wild flowers. Now here is, for example, let's go from the bottom where it's the highest content. This is silverweed. Now this one here is great burnet. This one is willow herbs. Stinging nettles, they are not well known here, but they exist. I had them in our garden the other year. Now this is rocket cress. Interesting. And what about hogweed? And even our good old dandelion has more than any other lettuce. Dandelion. So it's good to add dandelion to your lettuce. Even more than spinach. So how about some dandelion spinach? And kale has more than regular spinach. I often actually use kale to make my own creamed spinach, and it's delicious. And it's interesting, there's also butterbur, and our good old daisy has much vitamin C per 100-gram edible part. Who knew that? I found that really fascinating. Now, vitamin C supplementation. If you feel you don't get enough through your diet, or you might benefit from a higher vitamin C content, what can you do? It's cheap and easy to achieve. For adults, up to 2 gram, 2000 milligram per day is generally safe. If larger amounts are taken for longer times, or before using very large amounts, for example in an IV, a testing for glucose 6 dehydrogenase enzyme deficiency is recommended to avoid side effects. The side effects of larger oral doses by mouth are most often gastrointestinal upset or diarrhea, which actually can be therapeutic if you are constipated. So I recommend, when somebody is constipated, just mix some vitamin C powder with some magnesium powder, magnesium citrate powder, and drink it in some apple juice, orange juice, or however you like to drink it, with a large glass of water. It works, and it supplies important vitamins. Oxalates are metabolites of vitamin C, so there is a possibility that large doses might increase kidney stones risk if taken without drinking enough and you have a history or family history of oxalate crystals or stones. Many kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones, so if you take just vitamin C in high doses, you have to drink enough to thin the urine, and then it won't build stones, because we all know stones come when something is too concentrated. Then it crystallizes. You can do the same when you boil salt water that at heat is saturated. When you boil the water out of it, you have salt crystals. Same with kidney stones. Drink enough. Usually tolerated upper intake level to prevent stomach side effects. And these are just average values for average size people. Now, vitamin C might have interactions with conventional medications. For example, it's not well known if it interacts with blood thinners like warfarin. It may affect it in large doses if you eat more than a gram per day. It interferes with certain lab tests, so if you have lab tests done and you are taking supplements, let your lab technician know. There are drugs that are known to lower the vitamin C levels in your blood, so you might consider taking supplements. Some of these are aspirin, very important, the birth control pills, and other estrogen-containing hormones. It's not well known if statins do the same. They sure deplete the body of coenzyme Q10. Antibiotics, corticosteroids, and sleeping pills can also lower vitamin C levels. There's a nice graphic. It's German, but it's nice. How medications really are drug muggers. And we'll have another whole episode about that later on. Now, what is vitamin C in higher doses used for? The recommended dietary allowance by the US Department of Agriculture is now 90 milligrams for men and 75 milligrams for women, based on pharmacokinetic data. So that doesn't make much sense. Why do men need more than women? For smokers, they recommend to increase it by an additional 35 milligrams per day. Way better is to give up smoking. But those values are based on the avoidance of scurvy, not on optimal health outcomes. Studies have proven vitamin C to help with the reduction of coronary heart disease risk, you have to take enough, the reduction of stroke risk, reduction of cancer risk. The more vitamin C you take, the lower your cancer risk. Now, this may not be just the vitamin C, but it is always recommended to get most of your vitamin C by eating fruits and vegetables, preferably fresh. If you can't get them fresh, use frozen if you can. There have been studies that a higher vitamin C intake, over 300 milligrams per day for years, is associated with lower risks of cataracts. Vitamin C lowers blood level of uric acid and so reduces the risk of gout. And higher vitamin C intake, more than a gram, which is 1000 milligrams per day, correlates with lower lead levels in the blood. Well known is vitamin C for its immune system support and prevention of infectious diseases, and it is well documented that vitamin C stimulates the production and function of white blood cells, your leukocytes, and it especially stimulates them to eat or phagocyte bacteria and viruses. Vitamin C increases the antibody production and complement as well as interferon levels that we need to fight infectious illnesses. And it also protects white blood cells from autooxidation. Of course, when blood cells fight infections, they produce free radicals, which are necessary to fight an infection in the body. But vitamin C helps those white blood cells from being attacked themselves by those free radicals. It, in a way, makes it easier for those white blood cells to eat the bad stuff and still stay well themselves. And vitamin C is an important part in regulating oxidative stress or free radicals in the body. We need free radicals, but we have to have a way to quench them afterwards. And if we do not have enough vitamin C and other vitamins, cofactors and minerals, that process does not work and can either be overshoot, that we get allergies, or we get chronic infection. Both is not good. We need to have a tight regulation. Now, vitamin C in high doses or higher doses is used in disease treatment with differing effects. And it can be very helpful. There's actually a whole area of study called orthomolecular medicine, and I'm a member of the International Society of Orthomolecular Medicine, to use high dose or higher dosage vitamins for the treatment of diseases with, in part, great results, and often none or less side effects than common medication would have. Now, in coronary heart disease or angina pectoris, vitamin C improves the dilatation, which is the widening of the arteries. Now, we need that because the narrowing of the arteries causes an angina attack. So it can stabilize the epithelium and makes the arteries wider, which also lowers blood pressure, which is important in people with high blood pressure. That may be part of the mechanism why eating more fruit and vegetable lowers your blood pressure, as well as prevents all kinds of diseases. There's studies that high doses of intravenous up to 100 gram, which is 100,000 milligrams, and all doses of more than 10 gram per day if tolerated can help with cancer treatment, and many naturopaths use that approach, and it can be very valuable as an adjunct to other cancer therapies. Cancer is a very complex disease and needs a complex approach. Vitamin C also helps with blood sugar regulation and can help prevent diabetes. It helps with stress, and it may help shorten the duration of the common cold. Now, in a short summary, I just want to say vitamin C is necessary for all bodily functions. We can't live without it. The main functions are help with collagen production and the energy generation, as well as the antioxidant effect. Since humans cannot produce it, we need to be proactive and adjust our dietary and supplemental intake to our needs. Animals produce more vitamin C when they get sick. We have to adjust our dietary and supplemental intake. It is safe for most adults to take up to 2 grams per day. Recommended by the Linus Pauling Institute are about 400 milligrams per day. And that is certainly a safe daily dose for life. There's a nice overview from the Linus Pauling Institute, and I'll be happy to provide you with the download link or the download itself and the main functions that we talked about, good sources and special notes. Heat destroys it. Vitamin C in food is identical to vitamin C in supplements, but it is important that food that contains vitamin C contains other vitamins, cofactors, minerals that we also need, and phytochemicals. So really, taking vitamin C in isolation is not a substitution for eating a healthy diet. I can't emphasize that enough. Eat your fruit, eat your vegetables as much as you can, and encourage your kids to eat the same. I always compare vitamins to an orchestra. You need an orchestra to make a symphony, and you need all vitamins, minerals, cofactors, plant substances, animal substances, protein, carbs, everything to sustain your good health. Okay, and this is the end of today's seminar. I'm Dr. Christine. We are balancing science and nature to guide you back to health. Please like and share my Facebook page. Check out my website, drchristine.com. I was happy to talk to you today, and I hope to see you again in a future seminar. Have a great day and all the best and good health to you and your family. Bye-bye.